All right. So here's what we got for the next 3 slides. What I want you to do, tell me in your workbook. Do you have your workbooks? Workbooks. Let's pass out workbooks. In your workbooks, I'm gonna tap into my introverts here. Let you guys process. What should they do, or what would they be drawn to? So today we're tackling. Let me zoom back out because I can get ahead of myself. Today we're tackling interests and skills. So up to this point, you guys have tackled values as an assessment. We talk about professionalism and we talk about mission. So I wanted, my big 3 is values, interests, and skills. So when I think about interests, it's like a magnet drawing an object to itself. So I want you to think about yourself. Naturally, there's going to be things that you're drawn to. So who knows who Jack Harlow is? Tell me about my man Jack Harlow. Who is he? What's he do? Tell me about him. Anybody? Just jump out. Somebody tell me about Jack Harlow. Really cute. What else? Makes music, writes music. Anybody know about his music? Like what's some of the songs?
First Class by Jack Harlow.
First Class?
Yeah.
How's it go? How's that melody go?
My cousin sings it all the time, but I'm not gonna give you that.
All right, that's fine. So he's a rapper, he's an artist, and he's cute. All right. So what would they be drawn to? All right, outside of being a rapper. Tune in with me, guys. Podcasting, fashion designer, owning a record label. Let's take 30 seconds in your workbooks. Circle it. Circle what you prefer. I think it's on the. Let's see what pages it's on. It's on the back of the first page. Back of the first page. Circle which one you think they'll be drawn to. Back of the first page. 30 seconds. Rock with me right quick. Podcasting, fashion designer, owning a record label. Fun fact. Jack Harlow is from Louisville, Kentucky. Good old Louisville. Good old Louisville. All right, what do you guys think? Somebody want to share with me? What do you think? Yes, sir.
3.
3, what was 3? Owning a record label? Why so?
That's like he owns a record label, so I'll probably more attracted to that because the street can be faster than I can talk about.
Yeah. So he's already in the industry. So maybe owning a part of the industry, owning the business, that only makes sense. Anybody have something different? Something about Jack Harlow that they think he'll be drawn to? Go ahead. Yeah, would you?
I have
Record label. Okay. Anybody have something different? No? All right, cool. What about Mayor Stoney? What would they do? What would they be drawn to most? He's the mayor of Richmond. All right, fun fact, he's graduated from JMU. Go Dukes. So do you think he'll be drawn to being a CEO of a company? Do you think he'll be drawn to being a president of the U.S.? Or be drawn to being a YouTuber or an author? Circle your choice. Let's take 30 seconds. Quick. Circle your choice. Tell us about Mayor Stoney. What will Mayor Stoney do? All right, takers. Who wrote down something? Yes, ma'am.
I put president because he's already in politics.
Politics, that makes sense.
I say president, because why not?
Why not? Why not become the president? I like that. Anybody else put something different? You put president too?
Yeah.
Okay. Who put CEO? Anybody put CEO? Anybody put YouTuber? All right, everybody's got president. Last one here. Again, ladies, I apologize. I put all men up here. LeBron James, NBA All-Star, King James. What would he be drawn to? Owning an NBA team, being a full-time actor, or the governor of Ohio? What do you think? Go ahead.
Owning the NBA team because he's not a good actor.
Oh, don't come for him. Don't come for King James. So I take it you didn't like Space Jam too?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I hated the first one too though.
Oh man. Anybody have something different? Or if you have, if you put NBA team, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts.
Because he likes basketball.
Likes basketball. Drawing the basketball.
Does stuff.
Cool. So here's why we did this exercise. Here's why we did it. So at this point, you guys have already done your values assessment. Now we're in the world of interest. So interest is like a magnet drawing you something, or drawing you towards something. All of you all have different interests. So being interested in something doesn't mean that you're great at it. It doesn't mean that you're not good at it. It means that just like, I like this. This is something that I really want to like learn more about or do more of. Does that make any sense? So in this world of career development, you guys, I'm trying to paint this picture of like, there's no such thing as a perfect job, but when you think about you being drawn to a dream job, something that like, I really want to do this type of work, this is where we're going in towards of interest. Interest is one of those things as a career coach, it's helpful for me to prescribe, I guess, a roadmap for people, because it's more related to the work that we do. All right. So I like this quote by Michelle Obama. She says, success isn't about how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in other people's lives. So as you guys start to participate in the workforce, right, you find this dream job, all right, you're going to be naturally interested in different areas. What's going to sustain you being in a career and doing something that you enjoy doing is finding the value, how you bring value to other people. So I like this quote. So let's dive on in. Can I get one? I need 6 total volunteers, but I'll do one at a time. Can I get a volunteer? Yes, ma'am. So what I want you to do is you're just helping me to present this slide. I want you to read down what they do and that list of 6 things, and then go back over to examples, read that list of 6 things. Does that make sense?
Read that list and that one.
Yep.
What they do, hands-on, use tools, physical activity, moving, not at a desk, labor involved. Examples are mechanic, electrician, athlete, corrections officer, manufacturer, firefighter.
Awesome, awesome. On a scale from 1 to 10, on you guys' sheet, I think you're on a page, it's the same page in the back of page number 2. 1 being, I really don't want to do this. 10 is like, I really like this type of attribute, being realistic. I want you to rank it, put a number next to it, all right? Realistic, let's take like 15 seconds. So you think about somebody that's an athlete, they're realistic, they're using physical dexterity. A manufacturer, they're up and about, working with their hands. A firefighter, same deal. All right, next one. Can I get another volunteer? We're talking about investigative. Investigative. Can I get a second volunteer, please? Yes, ma'am.
What they do, analytical, explorative, intellectual, problem solver, research, and use technology.
Mm-hmm.
Examples, scientist, engineer, consultant, faculty, YouTuber, journalist.
Awesome, thank you, ma'am. So on a scale from 1 to 10, rank your preference for investigative. Somebody that's a science, a researcher, maybe a YouTuber, they do some research, right? Journalist, like what would be your preference? 1 being I don't want it, 10 being I gotta have it. How would you rank it? Next one, artist, artistic. This looks like Lil Pump here. Can I get a volunteer? Can I get a volunteer? Can I get a volunteer? Yes, sir.
Creative, autonomous, inventive, outside the box, expressive, illustrate, graphic designer, rapper, dancer, fashion designer, photographer, musician.
Awesome, thank you, sir. So on a scale from 1 to 10, rank it for yourself. Rank it for yourself. What is your preference in having artistic in your world of work? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Let's go to the next one. Social. Social. All right. Can I get a volunteer for social? Yes, ma'am.
I think you're supportive, teaching, healing, coaching, serve, provide guidance, examples, social worker, teacher, minister, sports coach, counselor, and nurse.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, rank it for yourself. Scale from 1 to 10. 1 to 10. How much would you prefer social in your world of work? Last one, last one. Can I get a volunteer? No, this is not the last one. This is the second to last one. 5th one. Enterprising. Enterprising. Can I get a volunteer? Yes, sir.
What they do, we are
Persuasive.
Yeah, that was on the second one.
I'm sorry.
Persuasive, sell, encourage, motivate. Examples, real estate agent, manager, CEO, politician, salesperson, and entrepreneur.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So rank this for yourself. How much do you prefer being having enterprising in your world of work? Being a boss, CEO, being a salesperson, and an influencer. How much would you prefer that? Last one here. Conventional. Conventional. Can I get a volunteer for conventional? Yes, sir.
What they do, detailed, oriented, organized, processes, structured, rules and policies, efficient. Examples, accountants, paralegal, IT analyst, project manager, chef, and secretary.
Thank you so much. Buzzword, organized, efficient, processes. How much would you prefer conventional in your world of work? Scale from 1 to 10. Alrighty. So I'm still tapping into my introverts here. So if you guys do me a favor, flip over your page. I'm gonna borrow yours for a second. You guys can see our work interest assessment. There's gonna be 6 categories. 6 categories. So you already know your categories at this point. We got realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, conventional. What I want you to do is just make a little check. It can be a X, a check, whatever kind of illustration you want to put in those boxes. The ones that just don't resonate with you, skip over them. Skip over them. Right? So at the end, once you check off the ones for that category that resonate with you, that you want in your world of work, just total it up. So if you have 5 that are in realistic, put 5 here under total. Going over to investigative, if you find that 10 of them really resonate with you, just put a 10 in that total box. You guys see where I'm going. Do all 6 categories and then total them up. And then we're going to take some time to see what our top 3 are and our bottom 3. And we'll explain that one in a second, Ms. Cowan. All right, let's take 5 minutes here. You will notice that on your desk there's some sticky notes. Okay, so you're gonna need 6 total sticky notes. You're gonna need 6 total sticky notes. What me and Ms. Cowan want you to do, I'm trying my best to explain this. I'm not a great explainer, if that's even a word. You're gonna put your top 3. So you're gonna have each sticky note should just have one of your interests. One of your interests. It's gonna be either realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. You're putting all 6 of them onto a paper, right? All 6 of them are gonna be written down on individual cards. What you're gonna do is you can see we have what do you call these? White papers. There's a top and a bottom. I want you to put your name and I guess the indicator. So I'm gonna use yours, for example. You put realistic, right? So realistic, would this be your top one or your bottom one? Top 3 or bottom 3?
Top 3.
Top 3. So you're gonna walk over here, take your realistic sticky note with your name on top of it, and you're gonna stick it here, and you go back home. All right. You're gonna do this for all of them. Hypothetically, for me, realistic probably be my bottom 3. So if it's for me, I'm gonna have my name on it, and I'm gonna just put it underneath the line. You're gonna do that for all 6 of them. If this is still confusing, no worries, because it's my fault. Just let me know if you have a question, if you need clarity.
On this too?
Yes, sir. Put your name on it. Put your name on it.
Trait and name?
Yes. Yep. Trait and name. Thank you.
And whether it's top or bottom?
And whether it's top or bottom.
There you go.
You have to give one more. Like reason, or we don't want.
No, you don't have to give a reason. Yep. Just everything you have is what we need. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get out the way. I'm going to let you explain this exercise next time. 3rd time is a charm. So conventionals over here, guys. I know.
Work faster.
If I could walk home, but it would take a while. I mean, I could hop iron my brother's truck.
You driving?
All right, so it looks like we're wrapping up here. A few folks keep putting your sticky notes up there. So just reporting back out here. We got a chance to, like, kinesthetically just apply our attributes to the different poster walls. I'm curious to know, like, your top 3, would anybody be willing to share what they were and why? Actually, let me not ask that question. Were you surprised by any of your top ones or your bottom ones? Was anybody surprised, or were they affirmed?
I'm surprised Enterpriser made it to my top.
Why so?
I don't know, it just didn't seem like it would.
Do you not see yourself like as like that influencer?
Not really.
No? Okay. So I'll say this, I've only, been in like 4 or 5 of your classes. I think you're a very communicative person, and I see how you engage with other folks. So enterprising doesn't surprise me when I look at you from the 4 or 5 weeks that I've known you, but you can take that with a grain of salt. Anybody else? Anybody else? Like anything that surprised you or didn't surprise? Yes, ma'am.
I guess social.
Was that your top or your bottom?
That's my top.
Top. So you don't see yourself as a social butterfly? No? Okay. When you envision like your future career, like whatever work you do, and you're an athlete, right?
Yeah.
So as an athlete as well, because that'll give you good context, do you see like social kind of coming up as an area of importance for you?
I guess so, because there's like, because both sports and also like nursing was in social. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Anybody else like just kind of surprised or affirmed by some of their top or bottom values? Cool. So here's what I want to do. Oops, I'm frozen. So transition here. Like, I want to really distinguish when you guys think about interests, because we got 3 of these. We have values, interests, and skills. Like, interest has nothing to do with how good you are at a certain area. It's like what you're magnetically drawn to. So I think I use, who was I talking to earlier? Who's number 1 is artistic? Who's number 1 is artistic? All right, great. So I'll use you as an example. And remind me your name?
Ryan.
Ryan. So for Ryan, artistic being his number 1, ideas and people are this spectrum of importance for him. On the flip side, like conventional would be the opposite, where things and data are a priority. All right? It doesn't mean that Ryan won't be good at managing data and things, because he could be skilled at it. But if he had a job, he'd probably want most of his job to be working with ideas and people. So I just want you to look at this spectrum of there's these 6 categories, and there's somewhere dealing with ideas, people, data, and things. Going further here, when you think about like ways that you can affirm like your areas of interest, classes, right? This has been a primary mechanism, primary area of your life where you're kind of saying like, this is something that I'm interested in, or this just don't float my boat, right? Your classes. But I want to zoom out. So some of you guys are volunteering this upcoming summer. Somebody's about to get a job at the end of this year, so part-time job. You guys might have hobbies that you like. There's specific class projects that Ms. Cowan puts on you to affirm. Like when I look at this project down here, some folks might be naturally interested in illustrating or writing, right? So this is a good example of a project to give some affirmation. Sports, right? So athlete, so you didn't imagine social being something that's a top, but sports is something that affirms that top attribute. And then lastly, the internet, right? So I just given a quick example of my story and how my interests impacted every job. So if you guys recall, my background is sports performance, so helping athletes to lift weights, get bigger, faster, stronger. I transitioned into academic advising for athletes, and then I went into being a career advisor for all higher ed students. And then I went into employer development, which is connecting students to employers to help them get jobs. And then I went out of higher ed to help veterans. So veterans transition from the military to the workforce. So that was my primary job. And now I work for an ed tech company helping the people get upskilled in technology. So why? Like, what's the interest behind those jobs? So first, interested in sports. I like being in the sports environment. Secondly, I wanted to help student athletes from a different area, not just helping their bodies perform better, but I wanted them to see their own future. Then going into careers. So if I want to help people in their future, I might need to learn more about career development. So interest went into that regard for career advising. And then transition over to employer development, I realized like just knowing how to land a job is one skill, knowing how to develop the workforce is something separate. So learning about businesses and recruiting. And then I transitioned into working with veterans because I wanted to lead. I didn't want to just follow somebody else's directions. I wanted to supervise other people. And then lastly, my interest in technology, realizing that there's certain industries that help proliferate the workforce. So those are my interests of how I chose my last jobs. So here's what I want to do. We're good on time. So Ms. Cowan has helped us out. She's hooked us up. There's some white papers around each one here. So just how we have realistic here, we'll have a blank white paper. So there's 6 islands. We got realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising and conventional is over there. Okay. So here's the deal, because you're gonna ask me you're gonna ask me the directions multiple times. I'm giving you the directions here. Your boat sank. Now you're stranded. All right, with fellow passengers. Who are your passengers? You're gonna find out when they come to your island. You don't have any supplies. You don't have any running water or food. You don't have any technology. There's no iPhones or Androids. What do you do? That's up for you to decide. What do you do? All right. So that's the prompt. Quantrell, what do I do? Help yourself get unstranded. Okay, that's the prompt. So here's what I want to do. I want you guys to go to your number 1 ride set code. All right, your number 1. So at this point, you guys know your top 3, but I want you to go to your absolute number 1. All right, I want you to physically get up and go to your island. We'll grab this right here. Excuse me. Slide by, excuse me. All right, ladies and gents. So the prompt, you guys are all with your group. Some of you guys might be on your own island. Some folks might be on their own. If that happens, that's okay. Create a plan for how you will set up camp. Set up camp. Let's take about 5-7 minutes. We can take our times with this one. Let's take about 8 to 10 minutes with this one. Now, how you illustrate, draw, write down stuff, it's up to you. So you and your group, figure this out. You're stranded on Risec Island. Set up camp. Go.
Here's some markers.
Yep.
All right, here's some markers for you.
Here we are. We have a mountain.
You're not on the artistic board.
We have a mountain.
We don't have to be at the artistic board.
Do you have a mountain? Sam, do you have a mountain?
All right. So let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. We're on Risec Island. So let's start with realistic. Hey guys, do me a favor. Do me a favor, because every group is going to report out. So let's make sure we're respecting, people that are speaking. All right. Group number 1, realistic. What's going on? What are you doing? Setting up camp. Bring us through what you got going.
We got very realistic. So we built a fire first, and then we built some shelters since there's these perfect amount of trees here. But basically, here's the mountain, the island. We're here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a river, so that's
Okay.
fresh water.
Okay.
So we have water, and there's animals in the mountains.
Okay. So I'm seeing you're considering the runoff from the water. I'm looking at your camp. You kind of set up your camp. Are those trees? Are those shelters by the trees?
Yeah.
So you've used the natural habitat? Okay. And what's the sequence? At what point does the fire come in? I see the fire. I'm curious to know when it came in for you guys.
Fire's the first thing. Yeah.
First thing. Got you. Okay. Cool, man.
May or may not. Because the snow is melting. That's where the water's from.
That's snow.
No, there's snow on the mountains, and it melts, causing a stream. I thought this is an island. It is. It's got a mountain.
Where'd you get a mountain?
Question. I see your question.
What animal is that there and what's its purpose?
That's our dog. It eats.
She said it
It
was
brings
a
us
mouse.
animals. No,
It looks like a mouse.
It's a duck, dog, mouse.
Leo.
Yeah, Leo.
So you guys have domesticated some.
It was
Yeah, we just had it.
Oh.
It came with us.
Just in case.
Okay.
He was on the boat already?
I'm not mad at that.
Oh, okay.
Every
All right.
vote should have.
Any other questions for realistic? Any questions for realistic? All right, clap it up for realistic. Good job, guys. Good job. All right, investigative. Take us through. What's going on with you guys?
We didn't really put this in order, but just listing a bunch of stuff like looking for fresh water, finding secluded areas, making note of important animals, and places where we can get fresh water, reliable food sources. Just basic survival.
Gotcha. So I'm seeing a lot of different types of areas to set up camp, right? Making a fire, looking at fresh resources.
Let's listen.
A lot of different areas to set up camp. Making a fire, surveying to see what the natural resources are. So you guys are kind of investigating quite a bit. Any questions for investigative for how they set up camp? Awesome. All right, clap it up for investigator. Good job, guys. Artistic. Artistic. What's going on?
Okay, as soon as we get on this island, we're making fire. All right, and then we're gonna find some fresh water for drinking, and then we're gonna get shelter. And if we need food, we're gonna kill fish, and then we're gonna make a raft so we can get out of here. And then this is us, and and that's Zion's bathroom. Sorry.
You said a bathrobe?
Bathroom.
Oh, bathroom. Okay.
I'm smart.
Let me see this bathroom.
It's hole in the ground.
Where's the bathroom
The
at?
only one who uses bathroom.
Oh, okay, I see. I'm not gonna ask what those dots are around the bathroom. It's grass?
Yeah, it's
Quote, grass?
It's a hole in the ground.
Got
Maybe
it.
Zion.
Okay. Yeah, and Zion's gonna be our motor to our raps. He's gonna kill fish.
Dang, Zion.
The second food source, like it,
Yeah, worst comes to worst, we're eating Zion.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. They're gonna eat Zion.
No, that's what you guys said?
Yeah, me and the back of the head, we're gonna eat
Oh
Zion.
my gosh.
Can't
So,
find any good fish.
what questions do we have for artistic for how they set up camp?
Why are you gonna eat Zion?
What if we can't find food and we're hungry?
I'm a basketball guy.
Like
Okay with cannibalism?
this is the first
Worst comes to
time
worst,
cannibalism has come up.
because he's the tallest.
Just use.
All right, let's transition. Shut up. Clap it up for artistic. Good job, artistic. Good job, good job, good job. Social. You're setting up camp. What's going on?
So first, we're gonna find clean water, because that's like the most important thing. Second, we're gonna build shelter. Third, we're gonna like try to make a fire, get some wood and stuff. Fourth, we're gonna find food, either fish or fruit, and if it's like poisonous, like, you know,
YOLO.
you gotta YOLO, you know, you gotta make do with what you got, so.
Designated testers.
And then we're gonna make we're gonna make a signal fire, so like boats are passing by in the night, they can see us. And then we're gonna like try to swim to the boat and like like sunk and get more supplies. And then we're also like gonna try to make like a map so we know like where we've been and where we're going. And
Okay.
And this is assuming that they're looking for us since the boat sank, so they're probably gonna look for survivors.
Okay.
And, we're talking about hunger, and AJ has a stomach thing, so they might die.
I'm dying first.
So then we're gonna put them in the ocean, and the fish will come and eat them, and then
Wow.
we will catch the fish.
Oh, you're gonna use AJ as bait?
Wow.
No, but if AJ's
I'm
dead,
so.
so if AJ's dead, we just gotta, you know.
How you feel about that, AJ?
Well, I'm dying first, because hunger is too bad.
They're dead, so they won't know.
You and Zion feel like.
But we're not gonna eat AJ, so.
Awesome. All right, questions for social.
Yeah.
Okay, so you did say that fish was a crazy idea, and you said you were gonna kill birds.
Yeah.
Where's the birds at on
In
your?
the tree.
Hold on, when did we say fish was crazy?
I don't know. Which one of you said?
When I said how close do you think fish
So,
come to
well, we've already
shore?
said that we're gonna swim out there, and we've already said that we're gonna use AJ's bait. Worst comes to worst, at least we don't eat our teammates, first of all.
Zion's up for
And
it.
we didn't write birds down because it was like kind of like a last minute thing, like if we need to.
How would you kill the birds?
Rocks.
Good idea. How do you guys?
Shout outs to social. Clap it up for social. All right, last one here. Enterprising. How do you guys set up camp? What we got?
We don't really have, we just have like a couple ideas, if
Okay.
that makes sense. So like, we want to know what's in that briefcase, because if we're assuming that that picture was like our island, we want to know like, what if we have some really cool saving items in that briefcase, you know?
Gotcha.
And we want to make a shelter. Maybe we can swim. I guess someone's going to fight off those sharks in that water right there. Cannibalism was an idea, but we don't know. We might make a raft or something, and there's like, we could call for that ship in the background.
I think that's our
Seems like
ship.
he's doing it.
Okay, but it doesn't look
clearly,
sunken.
clearly it's not sunk. We can just go
Yeah.
back and go home.
So we can either go back to our ship, or do a little some SOS for that boat right there.
There you go.
Or we can just like make a little raft or something.
Okay.
Maybe eat those coconuts right there.
Love it. Questions for enterprising. Any questions for enterprising?
They don't seem very prepared.
Yeah, they don't seem like they have
Well,
a game plan.
Worst comes to worst, death is an option.
I
Okay.
Yeah, but that wasn't the assignment.
Yeah, Zoe, come on. Keep up.
So let's zoom out. One, clap it up for enterprising. Shout out to enterprising. So staying with your groups. I want to land this plane before lunch here. Let's zoom out here, all right? Because each one of you guys, all of you all had the same assignment. But tell me about this process in terms of working with your team, your group dynamics, and then accomplishing the actual goal, like setting up camp. Tell me about this. Talk to me about this assignment here. Any takeaways from this?
Like how they approached it?
How they approached it? What do you get out of this assignment? What do you think the value of doing something like this is? How does it relate to career?
I didn't get anything out of it.
Yes.
You realize how you
Say that one more time.
realize how you think.
You realize how you think? Okay. Tell me about, I'm curious to know about like the group aspect. Like how is it, I mean, you guys had a pair, but like working with your group and trying to survive or set up camp on this island, like what is the takeaway? Like how was that dynamic for you personally? Anybody?
It was pretty good. Yeah, we all like put forth ideas and like tried to come up with different solutions.
Yeah.
So it was a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
Collaborative effort. And you feel like everybody contributed equally, or somewhat.
Yeah, sorry, I was in the back.
She was in the.
Yeah.
She tried at first. Jason, do you want to get some burgers?
And here's a takeaway in terms of that group dynamics. Your number one is social, right? So that's something that you guys prefer. Not everybody had the same group dynamics. So there's, and this isn't not a right or wrong, but when I look at realistic, there was like a core group, and then there was some folks on the outside, right? So not everybody kind of embraced the team aspect when it came to the assignment as well. Last question here, like how is this relevant for your world of work? When you think about your career, you graduate high school, you go off into the workforce, like why is something like this relevant for that?
Having to do with interest, correct?
Yeah. No, not just interest. I'm talking about this activity, like this activity. Go ahead.
How, like, do you think to solve, like, your problem-solving skills and people have the same interests as you? If it's similar,
Yeah. So think about problem-solving skills, working with people. If they have the same interests as you, that plays a big role. Any other thoughts? How would this activity, this Rise Tech Island activity, relate to just your future career, your world of work? What was that?
You'd be stranded on the island for a little.
You'd be stranded on the island for some time? Anybody else? Okay. So when I look at this is me and Miss Cowan, you can give feedback too. It looked different. Like everybody, like the process of doing the work itself, setting up camp, it looks somewhat different. Like artistic had all illustrations, right? Enterprising, when I look at you guys, you needed ideas. There's a lot of ideas out there. Leadership is the primary function that's needed, right? You need ideas, but now who's going to take charge to execute those ideas? Social, you guys were a little bit more inclusive and collaborative when I seen you guys set up camp. All right, investigative, you guys had a lot of ideas and you were going to explore different routes to get there, and it seemed pretty process oriented. I was telling Ms. Cowan, you guys, I'm curious to know, like, is conventional in one of your top three as well? Between you two? Conventional is naked, it's by itself over here. No? Just, okay, that's cool. And then realistic, like for you guys, like you drew an island. Like I see that you're kind of investigating some processes, like setting up your shelter. Like it looks physical. It looks like you gotta do some things to get it done. So those are my observations. I'm curious, Ms. Cowan, was there anything that you picked up?
Well, and the realistic was very orderly, even though it wasn't also, it was very, very orderly.
There is absolute chaos.
No, but the illustration.
Gabe's cooking a go for us.
So when you say absolute chaos, what do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What was absolute chaos?
It was just chaotic.
What was chaotic?
Yes.
What was chaotic? Was it talking among yourselves? Was it figuring out what to do? What was chaotic about the process?
Me drawing.
Why was that?
Clearly, I'm not a very good at drawing.
Why was this group over here, I was just curious, we have 3 and 3. Why was this group over here kind of standoffish? Why? Tell me, Gabe, tell me, Tiffany, tell me, Cameron, why?
We checked with them.
You checked with them, but tell me why.
Because they're introverted.
Because you made a choice, right? You made a choice, you just felt comfortable they were coming up with the ideas and you were okay with that, okay?
If I'm a betting man, when realistic is like your primary focus, you're focused on like physical dexterity. Like there's a job to get done. I gotta set up shelter. I gotta get this fire. I gotta hunt and kill and get some food. You're like kind of like operating in the moment. And so sometimes you have this blinders on where you're not really sensing how other people are feeling. So this is me kind of just speculating. Social is naturally like, all right, what are we gonna do? Realistic is like, what needs to get done, right? So you're not worried about what's going on out here. That would be my bet. It's easy to kind of put like other people kind of be to their own self or be on an island when you just focus on what is the job at hand. So that's my bet if I'm willing to throw it out there.
And I was interested, we had another class, enterprising. One of the first things they did was they said, okay, who's going to lead us through the survival?
Yeah, yep.
You know, they select, did y'all have any sense of someone emerging as in charge or selecting as in charge? Did anybody feel like they wanted to be in charge?
Both. Yes.
Yes?
Not really.
So Bo, you felt like you wanted to be, so there was that sense?
Yes.
Own it.
Bo wants to be in charge.
Not really.
Not really, okay, interesting enough.
That's
And I
funny.
made the same observations as this. But I was really interested that all of, so this is what interested my takeaway. I mean, all of you had fire, you had water, you had shelter, and you had food. But nobody really talked in depth about how you were going to create this shelter. What materials on the island were you going to create?
Yeah.
How were you going to get the food, whether it was flying, swimming, running?
You know why, Miss Cowan?
Why?
Because nobody has conventional. That's
Talk to
all.
me about that.
That's all conventional. That's process. Setting up systems, going from A to B to C. And the reason why there's you guys probably don't have conventional in top 3 is you haven't worked. Like you don't have a lot of work experience. Like when you work a part-time job, full-time job. Go ahead.
We talked about it. You just have to do something when it shows up. Like you're not always going to have an opportunity to do exactly what you said. So you just always look for an opportunity.
Yeah, I like that. So to his point, like when opportunities present themselves, then I would tackle it. Like conventional, they don't think that way. Conventional is like, all right, no matter where I'm at, I'm gonna strand the island. What's A, B, C, D, and how we're gonna connect all these pieces together. So you're kind of talking about like more happenstance, like investigative, like opportunity come up. Let me just tackle it then, if that makes sense. So cool. I'm gonna pause there. What time is lunch, ma'am?
2 minutes.
Yeah. Clap it up for you guys. You guys can come back to your seats. We'll go into the next half after lunch.